Welcome to the greatest weekend of the year for motorsports fans. Today on the podcast, let's preview this weekend's massive racing menu. Hop in, buckle up, and get ready to lay it on the line. This is Not Speeding, Just Qualifying, a podcast that's just as fast as it sounds. Hello again, family. I'm David Lawrence. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. I appreciate you for joining me today. Before I get started, make sure your qualifying setup's all dialed in. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel or search Not Speeding, Just Qualifying in the podcast section of the YouTube Music app to subscribe today. Let's go ahead and get you up to speed, as always, with our in-lap segment. Sector 1 brings history to the Brickyard after a weird and wild day that saw accidents and cars failing tech. An unlikely driver and team emerged on top. Israeli-born Robert Schwartzman becomes the first rookie since Teo Fabi in 1983 to win pole for the Indianapolis 500. His number 83 Prima Racing Chevrolet pole-winning run was a 4-lap average of 232.790 miles per hour. Two-time winner Takuma Sato and two-time runner-up Pato Award round up the front row. In the bump day shootout, it was another rookie, Jacob Abel for Dale Coyne Racing, who was the sole entrant who failed to qualify for this year's field. In Sector 2, the emergence of Westin Workman. It was only a matter of time before the Toyota Gazoo Racing development driver finally broke through, and breakthrough he did this past weekend at Sebring International Raceway, taking pole and race victory in both rounds 5 and 6 of the Toyota GR Cup North America season. The series, which runs as support to the SRO GT World Challenge America program, saw Workman not just win but obliterate the field in both races. Saturday's race 1 was won by a commanding 8.5 seconds. He followed up winning Sunday's race 2 by 7.5 seconds. Workman leaves Sebring as points leader following his dominant performances. Toyota GR Cup and the rest of SRO GT World Challenge America are on hiatus until mid-July when racing resumes at Virginia International Raceway. Finally, Sector 3 takes us to Japan as Formula E held a doubleheader in the streets of Tokyo. Saturday's first race was a very wet affair that saw the Maserati of Stoffel Van Dorn take advantage of a strategic call to pit early that paid dividends when a red flag fell shortly after his stop, bunching up the field and then allowing him to overtake the field when the rest had to come to the pits. Van Dorn never looked back. The Belgian ex-Formula 1 driver went on to take his first Formula E victory since 2022. Sunday's race was highlighted by a wild and dramatic second half, which saw McLaren's Taylor Barnard in the wall after contact, and championship leader Oliver Rowland emerging to win his 4th race of the season, keeping his stranglehold on the Formula E World Championship lead. And also shout out to Dan Ticktum of Copra, earning his first Formula E podium in Sunday's second race as well. Formula E returns after a week off with a doubleheader weekend in Shanghai, China next on their calendar. That completes our in-lap segment for today as we go around the world recapping the major talking points of motorsports. For today's Hot Lap, we preview the biggest racing weekend on the motorsports calendar. The long Memorial Day holiday weekend here in the United States is what I like to call motorsports Christmas of sorts for us racing fans. 3 of the most revered races packed into one amazing Sunday. You're literally watching motorsports from the time you wake up and eat your breakfast in the morning, well through lunch and dinner into the late night hours. What makes this weekend even more special is this kicks off Triple Crown season. 2 of the 3 races that make up the Triple Crown of Motorsports are ran on this one day. This year's version of each race also has some significant differences as opposed to last year's. Without further ado, let's dive in to the biggest day in motorsports. Leg 1, the Principality of Monaco. The biggest prize any racer dreams of winning is the Formula One World Championship. But even in Formula One, there has to be a race or races that stand above the others. This is that one race. The Monaco Grand Prix has been in existence since 1929 and has been revered as one of the toughest races in the world to win, not just in Formula One, but in racing in general. The race takes place on a street course that in modern day Formula One has no business being on its calendar. The track is barely wide enough for two cars to race side by side. The tight and twisty confines of the streets of Monte Carlo make passing such a job and a challenge that this is one race where you can truly say Saturday qualifying means far more than any other. That's not to say that winning the poles locks you in for victory. Far from it. But the task for Sunday is made so much easier if you ace Saturday qualifying. Since the 1950 Monaco Grand Prix, when the race was first part of the original Formula One calendar, 32 of the 70 Monaco Grand Prix held under Formula One sanction have been won from the pole. And if you're doing your math, that equates to about 46%. Cast the net a little bit further. 50 of the 70 races, 71% of Formula One Monaco Grand Prix have been won from the front row. Again, that's not to say you can't win from elsewhere in the field, but your job will be much, much harder, especially if you don't do well on Saturday. Honestly, the concentration of keeping a car out of the wall for 78 laps or 2 hours around this track makes the race so endearing to drivers. Not as much fans, but that's another story. Monaco poses a challenge to drivers that is unique from other races on the schedule, where it is not about passing, it's not about speed, but it's about precision, and where concentration is valued more here than other places. One driver once compared racing to Monaco as flying a helicopter in your bedroom. Wow. Drivers earn their victories on every Grand Prix Sunday, but there's something special about winning at Monaco, being adored by celebrities and royalty alike. Racing along the most stunning backdrop for a motor race, inches from Monaco's famous yacht-filled harbor that lines the Mediterranean Sea. Racing alongside iconic landmarks such as the Casino Monte Carlo and the Fairmont Hotel, not to mention everyday residents of both Monaco natives and their adopted residents. Sunday's field consists of mostly adopted residents of Monaco. Speaking of Sunday, this year's race will see an added twist. The FIA has mandated Monaco to be a two-stop race. While teams don't have to use all three compounds, it will, hopefully, keep strategists guessing as to which method will be the best to take their driver to victory. Speaking of victory, as for the drivers who could win on Sunday, the favorites have to lie at McLaren. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are the heavy favorites as they have the best car on the grid. Of course, you have to include Max Verstappen in contention, as his Saturday moments already this season have shown us he knows how to turn up the wick when he needs to. Charles Leclerc is the defending winner in Monaco. He and new teammate Lewis Hamilton have some confidence after a great rebound drive in Imola last weekend. And there always could be that midfield team that could spurn a true surprise. You never know. This is Monaco after all. Here in the USA, coverage of the Monaco Grand Prix begins at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday morning, followed by the race itself at 9. Catch the full Sky Sports simulcast from the Grand Prix Sunday pre-race show to the race in its entirety, all on ABC. Leg 2 sends us to America's heartland. The Indianapolis 500-mile race is built on tradition. First ran in 1911, the Indianapolis 500 is the oldest active continuous auto race being held in the world today. The race is as intense today as it was during its inception in the early 1910s. The race is the true intersection of tradition and innovation. This race's traditions are like nothing else in sports. The cannon firing to open the speedway at the crack of dawn on race day. The Purdue Boilermaker Marching Band, Back home again in Indiana after the national anthem. The massive balloon release. The 21-gun salute to honor fallen soldiers. The field of 33 and 11 rows of 3 to take the start. The bottle of milk that awaits the winner. Their face permanently etched on the Borg Warner trophy. Kissing the bricks after you've blazed past them for 3 hours in your quest for racing glory. But just as great as Indianapolis' tradition is its innovation. Literally from the very first race. Ray Haroon drove that race with the first recorded use of a rear view mirror mounted on his Mormon Wasp, which allowed him to drive without a co-driver in the car, which was common practice at the time. Other innovations included the first supercharged engines courtesy of Mercedes-Benz in the 1920s, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, aerodynamics, rear-mounted engines, turbine power, and another Mercedes Stinger with the single-cam pushrod Beast engine of 1994. This year, while arguably not fully innovative, we'll see the Indianapolis 500 take a new step as this year's race will be the first to feature hybrid technology. It has definitely shown itself to be a strategic component with its use in practice and qualifying, and only time will tell how hybridization will factor in this year's race. But hybrid's not the only thing new at Indy this year, as the 500 will now be on only its third television home in race history. After a 6-year chapter with NBC, Fox takes the mantle of covering the greatest spectacle in racing for the first time. Fox's arrival in IndyCar this season has been a breath of fresh air so far, and hopefully will continue on Sunday. The network has promoted the series quite heavily, and they're pulling out all the stops, inviting some of their other shows to IMS to tape live for the remainder of the week, so the marketing from Fox has definitely been there. As far as the drivers, this race is a toss-up, and there could be history in the wings. In the 108 previous editions of this race, a driver has never won 3 straight. Joseph Newgarden could accomplish the feat, but a tall mountain lies ahead of him. Despite he and his Penske teammates being fast in race trim during the first week of practice, a dark cloud now hangs over the Penske organization. He and Will Power's cars failed pre-race qualifying tech on Sunday, denying him the opportunity to run for pole. Later, IndyCar ruled that Newgarden and Power were to start from the last row of the grid as a result of the series findings. By the way, an Indy 500 has never been won from row 11. Keeping it in the Penske camp, only Scott McLaughlin was spared IndyCar's wrath due to his number 3 crashing in Sunday morning practice, taking him out of the Fast 12, which means McLaughlin will fly the Penske flag as their best starter. He will go from 10th on the grid Sunday. Outside of Penske, many are looking to Alex Palou as a favorite. And why not? He has been the dominating force of the season so far. He's won 4 of the first 5 races, and he's putting his stamp on what looks to be his 3rd straight title and his 4th overall in the last 5 years. But there's one glaring hole on Palou's IndyCar resume. The Spaniard is yet to win, not just at Indy, but on any oval in the series at all. He's won the Indy GP the last 2 years. He's won the pole for the 500 in the past. With the momentum he is on as the hottest driver in IndyCar, is this Palou's year? Pato O'Ward and Arrow McLaren always find their way to the front at Indy. And with a front row start this year, I can see him staying up front once again. A Mexican driver's never won the 500. McLaren are searching for their first win as an entrant since 1976. Are the stars aligning for IndyCar's most popular driver to score his biggest win yet? And don't get me started on the many dark horses in the field, if you can call them that. Takuma Sato, Connor Daly, Ed Carpenter, Alexander Rossi, Jack Harvey, Christian Lundgaard. All guys that have been quick in practice, and if all falls their way, can be in contention come Sunday. And there's also some guy by the name of Kyle Larson. He's pretty quick. Look out for him as well. Coverage of the Indianapolis 500 begins with a special extended pre-race show Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. You'll see it all on Fox. Since I mentioned that Kyle Larson kid, let's talk about the series he's leading at the moment, NASCAR, and their contribution to this biggest day in motorsports. Leg 3, the nightcap to Memorial Day Sunday, the Coca Cola 600. First ran in 1960, this race is one of the sport's crown jewels as NASCAR's longest race. It's a true test of man and machine. Yes, it was more true in the earlier years when the cars were slower, less reliable, and ran in the heat of the day. Nowadays, the cars are more reliable and sturdy than they ever have been. The race starts in late afternoon and goes through dusk into the darkness, but make no mistake, man and machine are still tested greatly. 600 miles on one driver is a test of stamina. For those listening to this in countries that use the metric system, consider this. NASCAR drivers will run nearly a 1,000 kilometer race solo. 965 kilometers and some change to be exact. The race will be run in a span of 4 to 5 hours and has been won by NASCAR's greatest drivers. Thanks to stage racing, there will be a guaranteed 3 caution periods, and at halfway will be probably one of the most remarkable and moving moments in sports. The field will come down pit road, cut off the engines. The track, engines, fans, and all will fall silent to honor the fallen soldiers who gave the ultimate sacrifice to the USA. Speaking of sacrifice, and to bring it back to a lighter note, Kyle Larson is sacrificing his body to race both Indy and Charlotte on the same day. Yes, he may be seen as nuts and crazy, and no, he is not the first. In fact, this is Larson's second straight year trying to attempt the double. Last year, because of the weather, he did not make it to Charlotte to turn a lap in the 600. This year, Kyle hopes to successfully complete the 1,100 miles and maybe win one of them. John Andretti, Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon, and Tony Stewart have all tried and ultimately failed at finding victory in the double, Stewart in 2001 being the only driver to complete all 600 racing laps, 1,100 miles on the day. Larson will no doubt be in contention for victory Sunday night in the 600. Defending champion Christopher Bell, fresh off his All-Star win, looks to keep his winning ways going. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, and William Byron all find themselves in contention. But the extra 100 miles of this race has been a great place for drivers to earn their first wins in NASCAR. Jeff Gordon, Casey Mears, Austin Dillon, Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, David Pearson all scored their first wins in the Coca Cola 600. Could this be the big night for Carson Hocevar, Ryan Preece, or Noah Gragson? Could there be a surprise in the works? Could Kyle Busch end his winless drought? Could SVG get an oval win out of nowhere? Whatever happens, this Coca Cola 600 will make history, as it will be the first ever streaming exclusive race in NASCAR history. The race will be the first of 5 races to be streamed exclusively on Amazon Prime Video as part of the new media rights deal that NASCAR started earlier this year. Prime has pulled out all the stops, from Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the booth, to sponsorship with Chase Elliott on track in the lead-up to their races, to no full-screen commercial breaks during the race broadcast. Yeah, I think Prime hopes to leave an impression on not just NASCAR, but casual fans as well. As Prime Video has over 200 million subscribers globally, over 100 million here in the US, there's a great opportunity this 5-race stretch into streaming may benefit NASCAR, giving the sport exposure to a younger audience for the next month. So make sure you tune in to Amazon Prime Video for pre-race coverage cranking up Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. This weekend is going to mean a little bit more this year, as it will be the last year for the foreseeable future that all 3 races will be on the same day. Why? Because earlier this year, Formula One announced an extension of the Monaco Grand Prix, keeping it on the Formula One calendar into the next decade. But part of that deal was the race moving from its traditional May date to June for logistical reasons, essentially partnering the Canadian Grand Prix with Miami, putting those races back to back on the calendar. Yes, there are more pros than cons to this, but one con is that, at least for us American fans, we won't have the entire day of racing anymore. Well, we might, but it won't be Monaco. And even Zach Brown has stated he'd prefer not to have F1 clash with Indy if it can be helped. And it would dilute the day somewhat because nowhere else on the racing calendar do you have a day of this much prestige and history all packed together in one. In conclusion though, the sunrise to sunset and beyond nature of the day is what we motorsports fans dream of. Undoubtedly, the best thing about the schedule of Memorial Day Sunday is that drivers, when they're not racing in their event, they're sitting and watching as fans, just like us. And that's why I coined this day Motorsports Christmas, because no matter what type of discipline you prefer, we all stop and watch together in adoration, admiration, and awe at what these drivers can do, showing us why they are the best in the world. So I hope you all enjoy this weekend. Sit back, relax, kick up your feet, and make sure you got the TV on while the grill's going. You don't want to miss a moment of the action. Finally on today's show, here comes your At Lap, a preview of the upcoming motorsports weekend and where you can watch here in the USA. Disclaimer, as I have mentioned Monaco, Indy, and Charlotte already in this broadcast, they won't be mentioned here. DTM and the ADAC GT Masters are at the Lausitz's Ring. For DTM, you can watch Saturday and Sunday coverage on Racer Network. For GT Masters, you can stream all their action on YouTube. The British Touring Car Championship is at Snetterton for the third weekend of their season. The British GT Championship is at Oulton Park. You can stream all the action on the GT World YouTube channel. The AMA Pro Motocross season opener takes place at Pala, California. Catch all the action Saturday, streaming live on Peacock. And the MotoGP British Grand Prix from Silverstone. Catch delayed sprint coverage Saturday and live coverage of the Grand Prix Sunday on FS1. Channels are subject to change. Stay tuned to Fox's PR social media channels for more information. All right, family, thank you for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Are you listening and have a topic or series you want us to cover on the show? Drop a comment on any of our episodes and let us know. You can also reach out by email at dalmotorsports@gmail.com. That's dalmotorsports@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We would also love for you to connect with us on social media. We're on Blue Sky, X, Instagram, and TikTok. We're all at the same handle, at NSJQ Podcast. Subscribe to our show so you don't miss whenever we drop new content for the pod. Also, like and share our stuff. The more you like and share, the more YouTube will start recommending our episodes to others. Lastly, if you want to follow me on my personal social media handles, links will be in the description box to this episode. I will talk to you all next time for another episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. Until then, I am David Lawrence. Always remember, you're not living life to the fullest until you're going flat out. So long, everyone.